is, since Richard was forcibly removed from his barracks room there on Fort Bliss because he was a whistleblower. He uh, he reported all of this crime, and especially the Walmart mass shooting, the cartel and military, the U.S. military's involvement in the Walmart mass shooting. Evidence absolutely confirms that this was the case. And, we've been doing this for 6 years, day in and day out. So we have mountains of evidence, right? Mountains of evidence. And, they absolutely targeted Richard. They forcibly removed him because they were infiltrated in our military on Fort Bliss and in the chain of command, y'all, all the way, all the way. This includes General Michael Garrett. This includes, of course, Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe. This includes, I have a whole list here, of the chain of command that are involved in this. That I guess they liked the cartel money or the cartel contracts, you see. And because the information that we'll give you today really talks about the cartel money and the cartel contracts, because this implicates also General John Kelly, you know, um, who had, well, we've given them all of the respect, right? We've given them everything. We've totally respected them. Um, uh, you know, we just wanted their loyalty, and they've betrayed us. They betrayed us. Um, you know, wow. Money can be very tempting, I guess. I guess it can be very tempting for people that don't have a moral foundation, right? Because that moral foundation gives you a look into the future. And you know that if you are going to dig a hole, one day you're going to fall in it. You build a trap, one day it's going to trap you. Um, that's what the moral foundation absolutely declares. And and I think this is what we're seeing. This is what we're seeing right now. So when they took Richard down to the basement room, the arms room, and we've this has been a roller coaster ride, and we've had witnesses that have been telling us at the beginning, and then you had a lot of surrounding infiltrators, operatives, cartel operatives, that would put confusion in, right? To try to confuse everybody, the witnesses, those seeking justice, the law enforcement even. Yeah, you have a lot of paid operatives that just want to sow confusion with a lot of deception. And that's how they get away with this, because a lot of people just don't even know. They're twisted in every which way and don't know what's happening. And you have to have a temperament. I think that's the number one lesson that we've learned through this whole thing is temperament, to not jump to conclusions, but to keep investigating and being patient and absolutely filing, 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 filing. No matter that you are filing with a corrupt system, You know, a lot of people go, it doesn't do any good if it's a corrupt system. Well, the Bible doesn't say that. It doesn't say to give up. It doesn't say if the judge is corrupt, give up. It says no, nag the hell out of them. Keep filing, 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 and justice will come. So this has been our approach. And what we have to tell you today is just jaw dropping. And I think it puts together a lot of puzzle pieces, a lot of, you know, pieces that you thought, well, how can this be? How can that be, of confusion? And it clarifies that and puts it together for understanding and making sense and making sense. So when they took Richard to that arms room on Fort Bliss, and they took his life, it didn't end there. That the crime didn't end. That was the beginning of the crime, as horrific as it is. But you have to understand, this is Fort Bliss. This is the largest, I think it's the largest military base on our border. And they stole, there's a lot of security, a lot of security. And there's a lot of regard because it is our base on the border, our largest base on the border, with so many valuable things. Of course, they were all getting stolen, trafficked, but because the security was breached. And that tells you that it was infiltrated at the highest levels, that the security would be breached, as bad as it was, and as bad as it is, and that the cartel had infiltrated the ranks. So Richard's body was absolutely stolen off of Fort Bliss, and a cover-up of which no one ever even can imagine started. And they, there's been a common denominators in this, and one of those was the mortuary operators, the mortuary operations. It was mortuary people that were retaliating against us. Here we are, a family, we just want to know what happened to our son. And you have people coming out retaliating and being so nasty and everything. Or, wanting to be your quote unquote friend, but they were just working counterintelligence, right? Um, and, when you look them up, who are these people? They're connected with mortuary operations. And the other common denominator is that they were part of a Mormon faction, and absolutely mortuary operations. And so, when we found out who the prime suspect is, Dallas Hart, and also his mother and cousin, his mother's cousin, Tavita Nusa, in the CID. So you have a CID agent that was a prime suspect, and that his brother, Solomon Nusa, was mortuary operations. A captain in the military. So, yes, it was all possible, especially when you connect the dots with the cartel, that the cartels moved on. Well, I shouldn't say they moved on, but they grew their business. It wasn't just the fentanyl or the cocaine or meth or the weapons. We know that from Fast and Furious, all the weapons from Fast and Furious, and they came from Fort Bliss, right? And the ammunition, and we know that they grew it into human trafficking, human sex trafficking, also child exploitation and child trafficking. They expanded into films about children that are the worst type of films about children. And, you know, I'm just checking to make sure that I'm on. I should have done that at the very beginning. So thank you for joining. But also, they got into organ harvesting and baby harvesting and selling babies in the black market. And I'm sure the investigation, I'll say allege that the organs were also sold on the black market, or that they were in the health business, right? That they had connections to health institutes. Um, so, because absolutely there was so much organ harvesting. And if you're going to do that, you have to have a funeral system. And the funeral system was needed to dispose of what was left over after they exploited um, these people. And of course, there was victims that needed to also be disposed of. Um, and so the funeral business became part of the cartel, and they grew their business too. When COVID came, they had a heyday with the between the migrants and migrants dying, unidentified migrants dying, and of course, humanitarian aid was there for them. We wouldn't want um, people that have died to not get buried, right? So, of course, there would be humanitarian aid available, but that was exploited. We believe that was exploited with Richard, um, because why would you have 3 autopsies and more information that we have? Um, so they needed a narco disposal area. They needed a disposal area for bodies to be recycled. You know, if you're unidentified, how many times can you use a body and collect on it, right? Especially if you have a funeral home network. You can send the body to this funeral home, they can collect on it, then you flesh peddle it to another funeral home and they can collect on it. And, so there were multiple ways. We have information that bodies were needed and sold, even to Ukraine and to Europe and that. So they were really flesh peddling, and because they wanted the bodies, because the bodies they monetized the bodies for themselves, and could recycle them, right? They then kept people's bodies instead of cremating them. And one of the um, outcomes really early on with Plenitude Crematorium is they hadn't used their oven. They haven't cremated anybody. Okay, that they had over 400 bodies stacked um, in the most horrific, rat infested, filthy conditions. They didn't care about that. Um, it was really sacrilegious. It, just absolutely sacrilegious, and we don't even know if it's still going on. We know that at Plenitude Crematorium, I don't know if it's going on because you have Maru Campos as the governor, and you have her attorney general. I mean, they have not done their job, and you have bodies that were recovered there that land in the hand of the cartels that were actually doing the flesh peddling. Because where are you going to put it? To purchase? Are you going to give the bodies to purchase for their coolers? Purchase, group of purchase, which are connected to the whole funeral fraud scheme, right? They are connected. So, who knows what is going on? They're not being transparent. Only by pressure are they releasing some information and some numbers. Um, but when they're so I'm getting ahead of myself. Um, so this funeral, uh, it was all absolutely um possible for Richard. We know Richard's body went to Juarez, and the rest of the evidence that's confirmed. And the rest of the evidence is that his body was disposed of at Plenitude Crematorium. So that's why this is all very personal to us. We want our son's remains. We know that they were not cremating them. So, Richard, I know there's lots of ways to get rid of a body, but when you are so blatant and brazen and you're just stacking bodies, 400 bodies up, and they're decomposing, and I mean, a lot of them had the fluid in them, right? Uh, uh, but a lot of these bodies were older bodies, and so the mess that they made, um, how can you run in there? The day that they were caught, Jose Luis, who was arrested, right? That night, our sources tell us that the ovens were turned on and they were burning all night long like crazy, like never before. They had never ever seen anything like it. Um, and so they, were trying to burn evidence. Um, because you can't move so quick when you discover a place that has over 400 bodies, and if they were burning all night, then how many bodies did they burn? What kind of evidence did they burn? And we know that there were bodies with uniforms. We know that there are bodies with indications of torture. Um, yes, and that this funeral fraud uh, was tied to group approaches, was tied to La Diabla and the organ harvesting, the baby harvesting, Martha Mendez Aguilar. Um, that's CJNG. That's CJNG cartel. Okay, she's a CJNG cartel operative. So that tells you that there is an alliance with the Sinaloa cartel and the CJNG cartel. And because of Alejandro de la Vega Foster being an El Paso cartel operative and a double agent, you can see that there was an alliance between these cartels. And we also know La Linea was part of this alliance. So this was like um, an alliance coming together to form a big cartel monopoly. And this is why El Mayo was illegally kidnapped. They called it an extradition, but there was no extradition orders. There was no extradition paperwork. Um, and of course, by an El Paso plane to land in El Paso, that El Mayo had refused to really become part of the alliance that they were making. And they had big plans for the alliance, and we see the big plans. The big plans can, um, uh, be shown with the um, the treasonous treaty between Maru Campos. I call her the El Chapo fentanyl governor of Chihuahua. Her and Texas Governor Greg Abbott. This treasonous treaty talked about the platforma, right? The Tower Central, right? I hope I'm saying that. Sentinel, is that it? Um, which is an AI operated spy tower surveillance intelligence, 20 stories. The 18th floor was reserved for the CIA, the FBI. We're talking about American agencies in Juarez, Mexico, in a spy tower that's ran by who knows who really, but Chihuahua, right? Chihuahua government, outside of letting the federal government know anything, okay, that we know of. The whole thing was done with agreements that bypassed Mexican sovereignty laws. And so, the 18th floor was reserved for ATF and DEA and DPS and um, CBP, all of those alphabet uh, agencies that are federal, except for Texas DPS, but are federal, and they bypass letting the federal governments know what's going on. And this is for border security, border surveillance, and federal the Mexican federal government doesn't know, is not part of the agreements, is not giving the okay. The Senate is not voting on it. So this is treasonous. This is a cartel operation, um, that they made this huge alliance. Of course, Mexico, they just felt so brazen because they controlled so much of Mexico. Um, and doing all of this with a Mexican taxpayer money, right? They're not going to use their own money. They're going to exploit the Mexican people for their criminal schemes, their criminal cartel schemes. And so this tower at the border can be seen from El Paso. And I have a few pictures that was sent to me. I was born in at White Sands, and I lived in El Paso. Went to school in El Paso, eighth grade. uh, yeah, kindergarten, all the way through. Anyway, I have a lot. There was a little break in there that we went to Germany, but we came back. My dad was ADA, and so we spent many years in the El Paso borderland area. So we're very familiar. We have connections there. But I want to thank the person that sent me these pictures because I think they're very telling of how big this thing was, how big the treason. The treason is so big. And Maru Campos is right now under investigation for treason. So we want to get this information out to the people because I understand how hard it is if you belong to the pre party or the pan party to realize that the party members have done something really wrong. You want to be loyal to them, but I guarantee you they have not been loyal to um, the people of Chihuahua, the people of Mexico. They have not been. They have absolutely betrayed them. And I understand how hard that is because my husband is a 30-year vet from the Army. Um, we have been so supportive of the Army and the chain of command. And, it was always go Army. And we are absolute patriots for our country. And to be betrayed the way we've been betrayed, what they did to our son is an act of war. We understand the pain. I mean, um, you know, uh, not that we've ever been like so dedicated to the Republican Party. That's not been the case at all. But we have been Republicans for many, many, many years. Um, and to be betrayed by Ted Cruz, I mean, he's just a rhino. To be betrayed by Cornyn lost today. He needed to lose. He has betrayed the Republicans. He has betrayed the military. He has betrayed us. He betrayed Richard. Cornyn needed to lose. Um, so I definitely understand. Senator Graham, Lindsey Graham, he needs to also lose. He absolutely has betrayed us and betrayed the military, and he's always such a chicken hawk, right? He's always wanting war, war, war. Um, but he absolutely betrayed our son. Absolutely betrayed our son. So, and for the generals to be absolute traitors, they need to be held accountable, like Maru Campos is going to be held accountable. And I think the death penalty needs to be on the table for this, because the damage would take me, we're trying to write a book, but it's changing so much and so treacherous um, all the time. The deaths that have come out of this, and the consequences are so far-reaching to so many different countries. So what they've done is absolutely needs the full force of the law and the penalties. Um, so I understand betrayal, but at the same time, uh, we are, like I said, patriots, and our country might have betrayed us, but we're not betraying our country. They might have betrayed our son, but we're not going to betray the people of the United States. And this has combined with Mexico, because um, so many crimes against us and our son and our family has come out of Maru Campos's administration. So let me show you this tower, though. Here's a picture that was sent, and I can go really. Okay, so this is El Paso. This picture is being taken in El Paso, and if you can see it, there's a tower right there. There's a tower. It is a spy tower, and this is so close to Fort Bliss. So if I come in, you can see the tower here. And I just think here's another one, another picture. There it is. You can see it. And this is El Paso. And this is the tower. That's how close it is. And I think it's right here is the bull ring, right? And then right here is the bull ring, and right here is the tower. So this is Juarez, this is El Paso, and this is Fort Bliss. And yeah, it is absolutely 4,000 cameras. The technology is AI, and the suspicion, but it's becoming more than a suspicion, because Chihuahua uses a platform called software called Pegasus. And Pegasus can listen to any phone calls, So not only you have cameras, you have eyes, but you also have ears. And this tower can, really listen. And if it has Pegasus, and if it uses AI to organize all of the information that it's collected from the eyes and ears, right? Then it's very, very powerful. It is a huge national security alert. It is huge. and to do it without the United States sanctioning it, without Mexico sanctioning it, without them being part of the discussions. No, you have it with Governor Abbott and Maru Campos, and Governor Abbott is confirmed to be totally compromised with the El Paso cartel, and Maru Campos is totally Sinaloa, the El Chapo branch arm of the Sinaloa cartel, and they are in alliance because of Alejandro de la Vega being a double agent. Okay, they are in alliance with the PAN and PRI. Alejandro de la Vega backed Maru Campos, okay, backed her for election. And so, yeah, it's just amazing. Let me see if here's another picture, even closer. Look at that. There's a tower. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? Here's El Paso right there and I want to thank the person that sent me these pictures. They are just absolutely incredible. Okay. I think that gets the point across. Let me put up some connections for you. And we've been doing this for a long time, so yeah. So this one is the agreement that the El Paso commissioners took a drive and went over to Chihuahua and had a meeting. This is recent. This is very recent. In March of 2026, that you heard that right. And they were continuing this Maru's plan, right? Treasonous plan. And going over there and signing an agreement, bypassing and in violation of both U.S. and Mexican law. And this man took the place, his name is Lionel Chavira Acosta. He took the place of Alejandro de la Vega Foster as the director of industry and innovation and economics. Okay. And so he was there. Of course, he's going to be there because this has to do with that tower. And now that they have it built, they have to furnish it. They have to furnish it. They have to furnish it with a lot of stuff, technology, and so, and also with more agreements. It's another step, and it is just so telling because you have this Maru Campos. Every one of the people seem to be connected to the Sinaloa cartel, the El Paso cartel, the CJNG cartel. These are all cartel operatives. And so what seems like what's happening is that these meetings that are paid for with taxpayer money are really just cartel deals, right? Cartel negotiations. It's not about the people. It's not what the people want. It's not about securing Chihuahua, giving Chihuahua a golden age, giving Chihuahua safety and peace. Under Maru Campos, Chihuahua has been so dangerous, The homicides are just unbelievable. She has no intention of real security yet. She's getting this guy here who owns a security company, and you're going to be interested in to know who else owns a security company, but she's giving them contracts, and now the Department of Treasury is coming out and saying, wait a minute, this is a front for the Sinaloa cartel money laundering business through um, like Bitcoin, like the what do you call the kind of internet money, right? um, that they're money laundering through that, through these fast food restaurants, right? Yeah, so he's getting government contracts for security while he is a front man for the Sinaloa cartel uh, uh, money laundering. I mean, that's what's going on here. And so, um, you can't say people didn't know. You just can't say it's right in your face. It's right in your face. Um, so this next one is a real um, unbelievable picture here, right? This is an unbelievable picture here. Here's Carlos Manuel Salas, which, he is the responsible for the north zone of Juarez, the north zone of Chihuahua, right? So he's for Juarez, and my goodness, he's the one that really tampered with and blocked justice, in our son's case. Okay, they tampered with files and everything in Chihuahua. Okay, and of course, this is Cesar Hargi. He's the attorney general for Chihuahua. He resigned recently and he is hiding out in El Paso the last time we heard. This Francisco Soto, can you believe that name? Soto? Oh my gosh, because the CID agent that was assigned to us, I talked to for hours and hours and hours, he was also Soto Hernandez. So this is Saiz. Um, yeah, so he is the new. He took Cesar Hargi's place, but he's been there the whole time, up to no good. Okay, and they absolutely have been protecting this whole funeral home pipeline. And it's big, y'all. It's so big because it has to do with organ harvesting and baby harvesting and the black market and everything, and hospitals and all of that. And so it is so big. Um, and of course, you have Martha Mendez Aguilar, La Diabla, her family working for Beto O'Rourke. Beto O'Rourke has a lot of connections here because he was also living next to, his home is right next to Arliano Caron's home, Rafael Arliano Caron's home, the owner, the owner of Plenitude Crematorium. And there are several owners, but he's the big owner. They say in the news it's Jose Luis, but it's not Jose Luis. It's Rafael. I mean, Jose Luis also owns it, but the main person, of course, is Rosa Maria Purchase Ariano Caron. She owns the land that the crematorium is on. Um, but for the ownership, it's Rafael. And if you haven't seen the pictures, there's the organ harvester, La Diabla. Here's Rafael, and this is his wife, who, her job is with the city magazine in El Paso. So, and, Carlos Manuel Salas lives in El Paso. He has two residences. He can flip flop back and forth. He has a residence in El Paso. He has a vehicle in El Paso, registered in El Paso. He has a driver's license. This is why the visa really need to be looked at. And I think that's what's happening right now. There's a lot of talk about that. So, um, yeah, it's here's this advertisement. Um, but it gets even crazier. This is just a little bit about Francisco and his new job and where he really is coming from, right there, right there. And so he is not a breath of fresh air, y'all. He is not. He is absolutely the establishment under Maru Campos. And of course, Maru Campos is the El Chapo, fentanyl, treasonous governor for Chihuahua. So, and these are the ones that help it to be that way, because otherwise you'd have to prosecute, and prosecute means, getting accountability for crimes, and then, you make the world a better place. But these are not interested in prosecuting. They might retaliate, but they don't prosecute. Um, this is the proof, the paperwork, and everything that Rafael Aliano Caron was on Chihuahua's payroll. He was a contractor for many different things, for security, also for paving and everything, roads, and I put that all together. So he, along with others, were on the payroll with the CIA's on the payroll, and they're protecting him. They're protecting him, and he was a contractor for Maru Campos. She's so guilty, y'all. She's so guilty. They need to have the trial, the Senate trial, ASAP, and they need to absolutely hold her to account for her appointments, for the cover-ups, for all of the embezzlements, just everything. She needs to be held accountable. She's been caught with her hand in the cookie jar. She absolutely has been, and that jar is not nice. I think it's a Halloween one. It's the Plenitude Crematorium, and so that's this part of it. That's this view of it, because her mother was the health inspector. Her mother is the one that would have to issue them a permit, that would have to come and inspect it. And she didn't do that. It was running without permits, without health inspection. It was absolutely allowed to run as a cartel, body disposal, flesh peddling, um, yeah, storage. Yeah, that's exactly um, what they were allowing it to happen. So, yes, and this is also a post that shows that they were in alliance. Rafael Arellano Caron was coming to bat politically for Maru Campos. He was her ally. So it's and anytime you say Maru Campos, you're saying Sinaloa. He's an ally of the Sinaloa cartel. He's an ally of the CJNG cartel, and he's in El Paso with huge ties that confirm that he is in alliance with the El Paso cartel. So this is why they're in alliance, um, and they were absolutely um, had major plans to do us a lot of harm. Okay, because that's what they've been doing. You know them by their fruit, right? So they just want to do us a lot of harm. So I did post those up. Please share all this information, because uh, she is subpoenaed, and these judges, these senators, they're not going to give us just judgment on their own. They have to be driven. They have to be nagged like hell to do it. And so that's what your sharing does. It nags them like hell because the more people that are reached, and you can even write them, right? You can even write them. God bless you if you speak Spanish. That really helps. Um, so, we just have to nag them to get justice because this cannot be allowed to happen in Mexico and in the United States or in alliance with the United States. It is just hell on earth, and so we definitely need to report it. So okay, that's where we're at. I hope that that helped to understand some of who's who, and I hope that the pictures that I loaded up with the articles absolutely help with who's who, and don't give up, keep going because from the beginning we didn't know any of these people, and now I think we have a doctorate degree or something. So, just keep going, and it clicks. It starts to click, and it's very important for our future because we absolutely have to get accountability, hold these people accountable, and have Mexican sovereignty very strong, and the United States sovereignty very strong. And I think we'd get along very, very well. I think it's the cartels who have sowed lying seeds, deceptive seeds between our country. And I know so. I know so. And so I think once we clean this up, we're going to get along beautifully. And I'm looking really forward to that. So, thank you everybody for everything coming on so late, and God bless you. And I will be back tomorrow, God willing. Bye bye.